Today, we're looking at Colorverse Black Hole. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Colorverse Black Hole is a black ink, a very black ink. Now, before we get to the writing samples, let's take a look at the sciencey bits. Up first is chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies over the years. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and I immediately dunk it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And this is an interesting chromatography because what we see at the bottom is a green, a very light green, and it works its way up and it's like a black in the middle, but then we get a purple leaning blue at the top of this chromatography, and it looks interesting. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And there's a definite difference here. A much darker, thick line on the bottom, but then we get that same green, that same very dark to black, and then a purple line across the top. Quite interesting. Now the resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to hold up on the paper, and more importantly, how difficult it might be to clean out of your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. So looking at the highlighter, this ink does not like highlighters. It doesn't like being re-wet. It completely exploded, unreadable. Don't use this if it's something that you may have to go back and highlight. But we get similar results when we look at the water. We see that it's completely reactivated and truly pulling up off the paper. Flush is doing the same thing. It's completely pulling up off the paper. Now, neither the flush or the water left it as clean paper, but I didn't try to take it off. I just put a drop on and let it sit there for 30 seconds. Bleach, on the other hand, just sitting there, no effort to remove the ink, and the ink is gone. Little yellow staining left around from the bleach, but that is it. It's gone. I don't anticipate you needing more than water to clean this from your pen. This is a bell curve for viscosity. For the 365 inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with normal being the range from 2.1 to 2.9. Colorverse Black Hole has a viscosity of 1.96. That makes this a wet ink. It has a high flow. It should be good for dry pens and wet pens alike. With wet pens, you're probably going to get a dark, dark black line. This bell curve is for dry times. Now the average dry time for the 365 inks I've tested was 17 seconds, and the range of normal went from 13 to 21 seconds. Colorverse Black Hole had an average dry time of 18 seconds, putting it well within the realm of normal. So it's an average dry time. Really, it's just normal. Now, how do I find my dry times? I use my writing samples from the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. I average those. Let's take a look at the writing sample. I got this ink in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub. I use a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's look at the Clairefontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. On the 1.1, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen. Black. Black is black. Choose a black you like and go with it. I like this black. I'm sure I've mentioned it, filming this in different parts. I like the fact that Colorverse, that even though they go ahead and they did science themes, they did a Disney ink. It's named for one of my favorite movies of all time, The Black Hole, made by Disney. It's awesome. Watch it. Okay. The extra fine. No feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, black. 12 seconds to dry. It's easy to make fun of black inks, but it's like a mainstay for everybody. With the medium, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. Although it does look a little bit darker than we got with the extra fine. 17 seconds to dry. And when we look at the scrubby, we see that we will not get color variation with this ink. The smear, don't do it. Don't smear. You are not going to save it. Save yourself. Tomoe River, we have no bleeding. We have ghosting because it's Tomoe River. With the 1.1, it's we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, but it's weird because it almost looks like, I said no sheen, it almost looks like there's, like, you look at it straight on, it looks almost like it's a brown. If you give it a little bit, it looks like there's moments of sheen that I didn't see in the swab. Well, maybe there is some. Didn't really see it in the swab, tiny. It just sort of looks a brown. But that's because the black hole's, messing up the colors that I can see, and it just sort of appears to be kind of a brown, or maybe appears to have kind of a sheen. I think it has a sheen. It has a sheen. Houston, we have sheen. If you like sheen, this could be a good black ink for you because it is a black ink with sheen. The extra fine, no feather, no spread, no halo. The sheen does not show up there. You know what? It definitely has sheen because I see it in the medium. I'm sorry. No shading, 19 seconds to dry. Moving on to the exciting part, the medium. Medium nib with this, we have no feather, no spread, no halo. We have sheen in writing with a black ink. Come on. Come on. I want them to see it. Come on. Why are you messing with me, camera? When we get it there. Why are you... Alright. Trust me, it's there. We have sheen in the medium. It's worth 28 seconds to dry to have a black ink that has sheen. Take it. Looking at Rhodia paper, we have no bleed. We have no ghosting. With the 1.1, we have no feather, no spread, no halo. The sheen's not there. No more sheen. Only had the sheen with the Tomoe River. No shade. Because it's black ink. With the extra fine, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 13 seconds to dry. Not horrible as a black ink. Medium, no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 18 seconds. The scrubby shows us we're not going to get any color variation, and the smear test shows us we will not recover mistakes in smearing. So then I went to Franklin Christoph paper because I thought it would explode if I put two different ink manufacturers' stuff together, and it didn't. In the science theme, I was just curious if it would explode if I put the Colorverse with... No, didn't. We got a bleed spot. We don't really have show through. With the 1.1, we have spread. We have no feather, but we have spread. We have no halo, no sheen, and no shade. With the extra fine, we have no feather, no spread. The spread is gone. We have no halo, no sheen, no shade. With the medium, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 11 seconds to dry. So Franklin Christoph tends to perform decent. It usually doesn't bleed all over the place. So that's nice. It won't give you the sheen, but the only one that gave it to us was the Tomoe River and the Rhodia swab where it was super thick on there, and it's only in a couple little spots. All right. 11 seconds to dry on the medium. We see no color variation when it comes to the scrubbies. Don't smear this ink. You're not going to recover it. It's gone. I'm looking at Levenger paper because if I'm going to look at Franklin Christoph paper, if I'm going to look at TWSBI paper, I want to look at Mont Blanc, but those notebooks are super expensive. I'm going to go ahead and look at Levenger. And you know what? Levenger makes some fantastic paper. I just wish they would give it as a regular lined or regular graph or plain Levenger. Plain, please. No lines, blank. Okay, back to the black ink. We have the 1.1 at the top. We have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. And with the extra fine, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 8 seconds to dry. I like Levenger paper, but I like Lavender ink. I like my Lavender pen. I apparently like Lavender. I've just come to terms with that. I like their stuff. It's nice. Their paper's fantastic. You should give it a try. Medium, we have no feather, no spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade. 15 seconds to dry. A gnat flew by me, and I didn't get him. He'll be going in front of the camera a little bit like this to kind of annoy you like it's annoying me. On the Scrubby, we see no color variation whatsoever, and on the smear test, do not smear this ink. If you smear this ink, you do not get to recover it. It's over, and that's all that I have for the writing sample. Instead of finding inks that look like Colorverse Black Hole, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I've chosen Colorverse Morning Star because it's a very nice turquoise color with this very black hole. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I'd ask if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into a different pen and use that for a day. I then put it into a Noodler's Nibcreaper to take my notes for this video. So what do I think of Colorverse Black Hole? I love this ink just for being named after the Disney movie Black Hole. You never trust a scientist that is floating through space in a robot suit. So now the big question, would I purchase a bottle of this ink? Yes, because their marketing got me with the Disney movie and reminding me of Maximilian, how Maximilian lives, and that very feeling from when I was a child makes me say I would love to have a bottle of this ink. Thanks for watching.